lead against those Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys' run defense has been struggling, to say the least. It's currently ranked 29th in rushing yards allowed per game and 26th in yards per carry. Cowboys safety Jaron Kearse has something to say about that.
If you're not frustrated, and we got the wrong guys on this defense. If you're not mad, we got the wrong guys on this defense. And it's just all about having a sense of urgency moving forward. We're 6-3. The sky's not falling. Everybody should be pissed off at how we lost that game.
All right, over the last two games, the Cowboys have allowed 29 and 31 points, the most points they've allowed all season, on top of allowing 200 rush yards in back-to-back games for just the third time in the last 20 years. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you on this one. What do you think is the weaker link for the Cowboys? Is it their defense or is it Dak Prescott?
Well, right now, I would tell you it's their defense. But to ask from a very macro perspective, it comes down to Dak Prescott for me. I understand that their run defense is porous. I understand they've got to do considerably better. I get all of that. It has a lot to do with their undersized defensive line. Their success is predicated on their speed, their athletic ability, and their ability to get to the quarterback. We understand that. They're not big dudes with a lot of girth clogging lanes that are preventing you from running the football. That's their weakness, and I understand that. What I'm saying is, if your quarterback plays the way he's capable of playing, plays the way he's supposed to be playing, then we can eradicate all of those things because the Dallas Cowboys will find a way to get it done. They're 6-3 for a reason, okay? Because you got enough firepower to make up the difference, to offset their maladies in terms of their run defense. That's where I'm coming from with it. I'm not trying to act like their run defense is not a problem. I'm not trying to act like it can't be a potential Achilles heel that could ultimately derail your championship aspirations. What I'm simply saying is, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, if Dak Prescott is playing the way Jerry Jones expected him to play, if Dak Prescott is playing the way Jerry Jones paid him to play, if Dak Prescott is playing the way we all anticipated he would play when we were all pushing for him to get his money before he got his money, when we were all pushing for it, if that dude shows up, then all of this talk about whatever else ails the Dallas Cowboys is null and void because they got enough firepower to offset those kind of disabilities. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree with that because I don't believe that Dak is an eraser. All right, so I want to clarify something with Dak Prescott because there's been a lot of conversation about him this week, and everyone thinks that I hate him. I don't. I've heard nothing but great things about him as a human being. I will root no harder for him or harder for him as a person than anybody. I've always thought that Dak is a good quarterback that trends on being really good, more than trends on being subpar, okay? But the Cowboys don't need a really good quarterback. They need a little bit of an eraser on offense, and he's not that. Here's the reality. The weakest link of the Cowboys is their run defense. It's a bottom 3 run defense when it comes to the NFL. Dak's not a bottom 3 quarterback. That's that. And I take away Trayvon Diggs for the most part. That's their 2 best players. So that's what their weakness is. This is an offensive line in Dallas that's a bottom 5 protecting unit. You can make the case it's the worst pass protection offensive line in the NFL. Now, on contrary, they're a really good run blocking unit. So it's hard to sit here and say, well, Dak's the weakest link when the offensive line does not do a great job in protection, but they are good in the run game. I agree, Dak's going to have to be a little bit more of an eraser because that offensive line's not great. Gallup's not playing dominant football. But to sit here and say that he's their weakest link, I do believe is an unfair kind of label on him. But I think it's fair with the way that they are constructed as a football team that they expect him to be a little bit more of an eraser than he has been in his past.
This is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy about people like you and other guys that have played in the NFL, all of whom I respect. I'm being dead serious when I say this. You see, I'm not one of these dudes that comes on the air and act like I played a game y'all have played. I'm a reporter. That's my foundation, okay? Yeah, the personality, the pundency and commentary and all of that stuff. I was blessed and fortunate enough to make a career for myself doing this, which I love to do. But my core is being brilliant by knowing I'm not and listening to those who are. And I watched a Dan Orlovsky, and I watched Ryan Clark, and I watched all of y'all talk about a quarterback being able to negate and nullify deficiencies from teammates and how that leads to success. You just talked about an offensive line. I'm looking at an offensive line that's given up 14 sacks this year. 14 in 9 games. Okay? Not 20. They ain't getting slaughtered.
Yeah, they
Can
haven't
it
thrown
be
the ball
better?
a ton,
Sure.
They haven't thrown the ball a ton, though.
Listen. They've thrown the ball enough. Well, I'm looking at Dak Prescott. He's thrown the ball 127 times in 4 games. Cooper Rush has thrown it 156 times. Okay? Last time I checked, according to my math, that's about 284 times this year in 9 games. I mean, do the math. They're throwing the ball enough. I'm saying to you, look at it this way, okay? And they've been able to run the football effectively because if it's not Ezekiel Elliott, it's Tony Pollard as a backup running the ball very, very efficiently. Here's my point. When I watch Tom Brady, when I watch Aaron Rodgers, I'm not talking about this season, I'm talking about throughout the years, and I watch y'all give commentary about the greatness, the Drew Breeses of the world, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, and others. We would see deficiencies. Let's say, for example, there have been some years where the Patriots' defense wasn't stout. When Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay's defense wasn't stout. What did the quarterback do? They found a way to move the chains. They found a way to be effective. Whether you were scoring a lot or not, you moved the football, you kept your offense on the field, you kept the opposing defense on the field so the opposing offense wouldn't expose your defense. All of these things come with football. So when I talk about Dak Prescott, you're talking about what they lack with run defense. I'm saying to you, Dan Orlovsky, is it inconceivable that Dak Prescott can facilitate the Dallas Cowboys moving the chain, keeping their offense on the field so the defense doesn't get overexposed to a potent running attack by the opposition? Is that far beyond the realm of comprehension?
No.
Exactly.
You're right.
And that's what I'm saying.
No,
that's why I come to Dak Prescott.
No, we're seeing Dak in the same vein. I don't think that either of us are sitting here, and I know Monday he was the weakest link. I was the person who said he got to play better. Like, he's got to play better. They're not taxing him with this demand to be this incredible Superman type of performance. Stephen A., when he was going through his contract stuff, I said the phrase, don't pay a good player great player money. And everyone killed me for it because, you think, no, I don't think he stinks. I think he's a good player. But once you paid him all that money, you are now expecting him to be something that I don't believe he's been in the NFL. And now, given where they are in this season, the expectation is for Dak to be great for a consistent period of time. And I don't know if we've seen that.
But you got to remember, when we were arguing with you back then, Dan, about Dak Prescott deserving his money, it wasn't just about his play on the football field. It was about what the market bore because of guys like Carson Wentz and others who were getting paid that were not producing as much as he was producing. So even though there were question marks about whether or not he could get towards greatness, it was an issue involving market value. If other quarterbacks are getting paid these dollars, how are we going to say somebody that's playing better than them doesn't deserve that money? That's where the support for Dak Prescott came in. So let's put that in perspective.
But when you paid him all that money, which was at the time, I think, the highest in the league, and I think he's probably 10th right now. Like, you expect him to, when our offensive line isn't great in pass protection, you expect him to consistently overcome that, to erase that. He's got to do that this year in a little bit. He has to.
He's got to do it. And that's why I say him, not the run defense. Him. And I'm going to stay with that.
All right, Dan, we got some NBA to get to, so sit tight because we do have some Orlovskis coming up later. All right, things going not as planned for the Warriors so far this season.